Hi, my name is Eldon Porter. My wife and I served cross-culturally for 27 years with a traditional Western agency, but for the last 12 years, I've been researching the new reality. How is it that the body of Christ is coming together globally? Sociologists say we live now in what's called a network society. And for the evangelicals, for the Christians around the world, there are three drivers in this reality that has redefined our world. The first is that there is a church now in every single country of the world. That's incredible. Christ is planting his church, and we need to listen and work together in unity around complex issues. Secondly, there's technology today that facilitates connections, communications. You can talk today with virtually anyone, anywhere in the world. We didn't have that. Even 10 years ago, we didn't have it like we do today. That brings new players into the whole world of partnering. And the third driver is what the United Nations refers to as the global diaspora movement. Over 350 million people have moved or are moving currently from their historic context to another area of the world. This changes our reality. You know, Jack Welch, the former CEO of General Electric, is famously quoted as saying, when the rate of change inside your organization is less than the rate of change outside your organization, your end is in sight. And boy, have we seen some changes. Most of my days are filled with helping the different parts of the global church come together to create what we call collaborative ecosystems around complex and difficult issues. These could be unreached people groups that are diaspora rich. It could be crises like the Afghan refugee crisis. It could be the Ukraine situation. Any of these that are complex, requiring different parts of the body of Christ coming together, we call a collaborative ecosystem. But there are many churches, local churches, who are also wrestling with how do they do missions today? Mission agencies are trying to figure out how do we do this, especially the Western agencies that were built. Their structures were formed in the old reality of from the West to the rest. And these structures are so bulky and costly for them. And they're just not sustainable. And then we have networks, these spaces where people who share a common vision or a common passion or common geographic location or focus come together. I track over 700 of these globally. And while in the past, they function more as an organization, people kind of associated, the whole organization associated with a network, and they function within that. That's not true anymore. A complex challenge requires collaboration between those who associate with maybe media, with those who work with refugees, and these networks can work together collaboratively to create this dialogue and interaction between the bodies, different parts of the body of Christ. So while most of my time is dedicated on these collaborative ecosystems, I also do mentoring and creating cohorts of pastors, mission leaders from local churches in cohorts that where they can dialogue about what does it look like to do missions today, where the unreached people are living right in our backyard, where we have business people who live over there. They don't need to join an agency and raise support to do that. Where your connections with a church in Cairo or Bishkek can be direct and you can talk daily with them. That personal interaction is vibrant for a local church. So how do local churches manage that transition? Then mission agencies, especially the Western agencies, you know, with these huge structures of providing all of the services that used to be so essential, so relevant in the old paradigm, now are bulky and extremely expensive. The cost of maintaining this, subsidizing these personnel and sending offices, the growing rate of lack of trust because of misappropriation of funds are driving churches and individuals to realize, hey, we don't need to work through the structures. And yet these agencies have huge value added, the experience they have. So how does an agency move from being a sending agency to being a receiving agency? How do they transition the economic sustainability of leadership from a sending perspective to leadership on the field, pulling people into context, pulling individuals, churches from all over the world, not to join their agency 100%, become members necessarily, but to work in these collaborative spaces? And how do networks that used to be functioning as an entity, and you join this almost an organization, how do they function today in a way that's intentionally collaborative with others, where together they can work together? So I facilitate these cohorts that meet monthly, different ones for agencies, different ones for churches, and different ones for networks. Let me know if you're interested in being a part of that. When we're starting a new cohort, I'll be happy to invite you to be part of that. I share what I'm observing, but I only see certain things. Most learning comes from individuals talking with each other, learning about what they've done and what I'm trying to do, between a church in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and a church in Toronto, Canada, and another one in Sydney, Australia. So this collaboration is critically important. You know, today we can get this right. Jesus Christ is the head of the church. He's the one who's leading this. And in obedience, as we seek to follow him and respond globally, we can now see the unity of the body of Christ coming together. So if I can be of help, service to you, please let me know. Thank you very much.